I'm Adam, and I'm the cigar expert, but the whiskey noob.
I'm Chris, and I am the whiskey expert, but the cigar noob.
And this is the Perfect Pairing Podcast.
And today we are finding the perfect pairing for this Nica Reserva Connecticut cigar with a few pairings that are going to be a lot of fun, I think.
I think this is going to be crazy. And okay, before I get into that, before I forget, we're doing the question of the week, the trivia question of the week. So today, the Nica Reserva, this is a Connecticut cigar. You can see the shade is pretty light. Now, does this shade, the fact that it's a light-looking cigar, mean that it is a light cigar, meaning it's approachable and it's not heavy in nicotine and really going to kind of knock you out a little bit? Not actually knock you out, but does that mean it's a light cigar? The color of the cigar, does that mean it's a light cigar? That's the question of the day.
Okay, you got my gears turning because I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, with coffee, like a blonde roast is like way more caffeine. Am I right? I'm pretty sure that's the case. And like dark roast is like not as much caffeine.
Is that true?
That's what somebody told me, and I didn't validate it at all. So I'm just gonna believe it.
If that's true, no wonder I get so tired in the mornings because all I buy is dark roast.
Yeah, and I love dark roast. Dark roast is like my favorite, but I did hear, or I was told that directly. So,
well, if people aren't already laughing at us for not knowing anything about coffee, then here you guys go. You can
maybe
laugh at
one
us now.
episode we need a coffee noob, or a coffee expert rather. That'd be pretty good.
Yes. Maybe we'll bring in the FDC guys.
Oh yeah, they're a lot of fun. I really like their coffee too. So that was, what was that?
Yeah.
Episode 2, I think.
It was episode 2 with the Candela. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, they have some really good coffee.
Yeah, that would be some good one. Well, I'm going to go ahead and cut up. I am going to do a V cut this time.
Okay.
I feel like this is a larger ring gauge. So for some reason, for me, I always like a V cut on a larger ring gauge. I mean, I feel like that's just a lot of exposed tobacco right there. And it really helps with the flow, given that I'm a fast smoker. So there's another, I think I did mention it before, but another little piece of trivia for everybody out there. Faster smoker you are, the more exposed tobacco you want in the cut. So for me, punch cut, not going to do.
Good to know. I had never heard that tip before. Okay.
Okay, so I hadn't mentioned.
What's going on there? Why is that? Do you know?
So a cigar is all about heat maintenance. That's why you're only supposed to puff, again, here, just dropping stuff, every 45 seconds to a minute. Because if you just puff, then you're going to overburn that tobacco, that cigar, and that cigar is just going to taste terrible. I mean, that's why a lot of times, if you notice you're smoking faster, the next day, your mouth will just taste horrible.
I might be doing that kind of regularly. I'm not so much on the podcast, because when we're talking, I forget to puff sometimes.
Right.
But like, especially if I'm sitting by myself with a cigar, I've known before, they say, like 45 seconds to a minute, but I bet I'm way overdoing it when I'm alone because I don't even really think about it.
Yeah. Good. I mean, it's interesting I notice for sure, because when I'm alone, I do have a tendency to smoke really fast. And especially if I'm like working and smoking, and like it's like more of like a think tank kind of situation, and I'm like walking around like, okay, we'll do this, and then like the adrenaline of whatever I'm trying to build, like business wise, just goes into how fast I smoke the cigar, and then I'll just realize like, oh man, crap, overburned that cigar for sure. But I also notice when I just relax, slowly puff, and like this cigar on average should take you about an hour.
Okay.
Like this size of cigar, this is a Toro. It should take you about an hour. If I smoke this cigar over about an hour 15, I won't even really notice any taste in my mouth that's different, especially if I'm drinking some whiskey or something.
Oh, that's a helpful tip right there. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people listening had the same epiphany that I just had. where I was like, because I've smoked like nice quality cigars, and the next day I'm like, oh my, it feels like I licked an ashtray. And a lot of people might be making the same connection that I'm making right now. Like, oh, that might be why.
Yep, 100%, and that is definitely it. I've been there though. I've been there.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I've been there a lot of times, so good to know. Now, this first pairing that we've got here, this I'm interested. I can't think of something that you've had that's going to taste similar to this, so I'm interested to see what you say.
Here's a little hint I didn't want to tell you before.
Oh, okay.
One, I know how to say this, which is a hard thing to say.
Yeah. Good point. Oh, yeah, that's a very good. This is a tough one to pronounce.
This is a tough one to pronounce. I know how to say it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whiskey.
All right. Well, let's hear it then. How do you pronounce this brand?
Bruichladdich.
Bruichladdich. That's correct. And it looks nothing like Bruichladdich. It is. It looks like it's pronounced Bruichladdich, maybe if you speak English in the United States English. But yeah, it is pronounced Bruichladdich, and this is the classic laddie, which is a single malt Irish, a single malt Scotch whiskey, but it's from Islay. You might recall Ardbeg that we had that was from Islay. What makes this weird is it's not peated, but it is from Islay. So Islay, typically Islay Scotch is very peaty, very smoky. This is not peated. So I'm really intrigued to see what you think about it. Did you say you have had this one? I think I lost your connection there for a sec.
Yes, I have had this one. I actually went to a Bruichladdich event in Atlanta. It was for, what is that, Whiskey X?
Oh,
like Flavior's thing.
Yeah, I haven't.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so I went to a Bruichladdich event. I was there, and I was like, oh yeah, of course I know Bruichladdich. I said it to 20 people that were there, and then the guy gets up. It was when they released that what is it, Water of Life or something, the documentary that they did. But
I don't think I know.
Anyways,
that.
Yeah, it was a showing for their documentary that they did, and I was trying to brag, and the guy got up in front of the screen, and he was like, "Welcome to Bruichladdich," and I was like, "Shh, Nikes." I just look like an idiot to a lot of people.
If it makes you feel any better, I might have told you this already, but people listening probably don't know, unless you're coming from the Whiskey Noobs podcast. On an early episode of Whiskey Noobs, not even that early, I guess, we had Chivas Regal, which is also a Scotch. I'm so bad with Scotch names, and my last name is Chapinar, so I thought it was Chivas, and the whole episode I said Chivas, and it turns out it's pronounced Chivas, and I just had to eat that one because I'm like, what am I going to do? Re-record an entire episode? Like, I can't do that. So,
yeah,
it is what it is.
Anyways, I am a fan of Bruichladdich. I think they have 3 expressions. From my understanding, at least I've had 3 of their expressions.
Yeah, they might have more than that, to be honest with you. This is the only one of theirs that I've had, though, so I can't really speak to it. I don't know if they have more or not.
They have one that is like insanely peated, and that one tastes like a tire fire for sure. Yes,
because is it Port Charlotte that's underneath their umbrella, if I'm not mistaken? Is that what it is? Yep. Incredibly peaty. Yeah, and they're also a little bit pricey in my area. If this is any indication, they're worth that priciness, but that's the only reason I haven't had more of them. Did you just take your first sip?
Okay, I took my first sip, and I did remember, what was going on. And I immediately in my head was like, this is going to just blow this cigar out. Nothing's going to happen. This cigar is going to just go away. Completely wrong. Really? Completely wrong. I got the heaviest caramel note I think I've ever had out of a cigar. That was, I am blown away.
All right, I'm gonna get some cigar on my palate here. I'm gonna go back for it. Bruichladdich. So I picked a few for this episode that are they're different types of sweet, so they're not all gonna be like super mellow and light. But I wanted some sweetness because I knew this was a Connecticut. And I know that a lot of times, and I haven't had this before, but I assumed it had kind of a lighter flavor to it. And so that's why I picked the 3 that we have. So I'm interested. I was worried the opposite. I was worried I wouldn't be able to taste the Scotch after I puffed the cigar too much, but I'm going to try that here in a second.
After you take a puff, what ABV is this? I'm super curious.
I think this is 100 ABV, or 100, 50% ABV, 100 proof.
So, yeah. Typically, I mean, for a Connecticut cigar, 100 AB or 100 proof. Sorry.
No, I said it backwards.
Yeah.
I tripped up.
100%. I mean, I feel like there's not very Connecticut's that are going to stand up to that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm impressed. This is only my second time having this cigar as well. I love trying new ones straight on the podcast, so I try and do that as much as I can. But yeah, this is incredible.
I think caramel's a good descriptor there.
Yeah.
Wow. It takes it, usually I'm getting much more towards the vanilla, the breadiness, maybe a touch of nuttiness, but it gives it like that almost caramel brown sugar instead of white sugar type of a flavor to it. That is interesting.
That is good. When you hear that you're really getting something out of that flavor.
Getting all the flavor that you can.
Now the question is, and this is a quiz for you, Chris.
Uh-oh.
Well, I mean, also your opinion. To be clear, none of these are blanket statements, but what type of pairing is this? And I feel like I already know the answer a little bit, but
okay. I'm going to try this Bruichladdich one more time.
Bruichladdich.
So to me, this is what I'm tasting. I'm not getting much change in the Bruichladdich, but I think I'm also not seeing it get like steamrolled. It's just kind of exactly the same. Oh man, it's been a while since I've thought about which type that is. That would mean it's complementary because it's not harming the Bruichladdich, but the cigar, the cigar is having a new flavor. Oh, but you said you've never got antagonistic.
Yeah.
Complementary is that they both are elevated, but there's no new flavors.
Correct.
You got me. See, I didn't study, and you called me on it.
Didn't study for it. Guys, he is the cigar noob. Look at this. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, no, that's a very great point, though. The whole idea here is to not be intimidating, and I just got that very wrong. So,
and I'm just lucky that Chris picked one of the only scotches in the entire world I got invited to a documentary about, and I was already an idiot once, so I don't have to be an idiot here.
Right.
So act like a cigar expert or a whiskey expert for 1 second.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris. You're making me feel good.
Hey, anytime. Is there ever then like the opposite of an ultra where they both just taste bad? Does that ever happen?
That's complimentary.
Because they're both changing, but it doesn't matter whether it's for the better or not.
If you hate both flavors and then they're both elevated, like if you're drinking or I don't know, like somebody's dip spit and you're eating dog shit, if both flavors are elevated, you're not having a good time.
Good point. It sounds so, and I know that like even antagonistic can be a good thing, but it sounds like complementary should be a good thing.
Right.
But that's a very good point. Okay. See, I learned something.
Yeah. And that's kind of the hard part of those 3 types. Ultra can be negative.
True.
If you love the cigar and you love the whiskey or whatever you're pairing it with, even if it's a steak or whatever, wine, anything, and they come together to make the worst flavor that you didn't get out of either of them, it's a negative ultra.
Okay.
We're making up chemistry terms here, man. We're just reinventing the world.
Yeah, we can double all the types of pairings by adding positive or negative. This would be positive antagonistic.
Whereas that's actually a good point.
Negative ultra. I mean, you could.
Maybe we should do that.
Nothing wrong. I
To be
might shake
clear
out
for
in
everybody.
ratings a little bit. This is an ultra pairing, but it's a 1.1. Not actually, not this cigar. To be clear, that was just an example.
Yeah. I mean, so far my ash was actually burning a little uneven. My light up was a little iffy, but it's already correcting. Pretty solid burn line, honestly.
Oh, nice. Okay, I don't have much of a burn yet because I smoke slower than you, and I also just lit, but I lit it improperly. So here, we'll see. We'll all watch
That's
together.
a good test.
Bad light. Let's see how it corrects. We'll see how it does.
100%.
And I
All right, should we get in? Go
not
ahead.
burning on top, correct? Because the heat rises into it.
Heat rises, correct. So
All right.
Yeah, there's a little curve there, so I should hold it like this. Or put it in the ashtray with the longer end not burning up top.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. All right, let's dig into sample number 2. I'm going to pour myself a little extra Brooklotti before I put it down so that I've got it for later.
I'm going to give a quick sneak peek. All right, anybody who got that, I'm going to do another one. What is that label?
Ooh.
I don't think anybody's going to get it. The first one was slower than the second one you saw.
Oh, the first one was slower. I was going to say, that was a little quick.
What
You could be flashing anything in front of the screen there.
Ooh, that was a good release.
Yeah, that was a good one. All right. So here we've got Redwood Empire's Lost Monarch, which I wanted to have because it's so unique. This is such a unique whiskey. For those of you who don't know, so Redwood Empire does make all different kinds of whiskeys, but this one is a blend of straight whiskeys. Not straight bourbon whiskeys, but straight whiskeys, because they have both bourbon and rye blended together in this, which gives it this sweet spiciness with this kind of creamy herbaceousness that just mix, and it's strange. Oh, that was a good cork pop. That was a really good cork pop. And you can already see this is a good bit darker than the Brooklotti. So Brooklotti is in my left hand, which is I think on your right, and then Lost Monarch's in my right hand, which is on your left. A good bit darker.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We're going to see what happens here.
I had a taste of this Lost Monarch about a week ago when it came in, and I was a big fan, and I was like, all right, I'm intrigued to see which cigar Chris matches this up with. When you picked this one, I was like, that's gonna be so interesting. So I'm ready for it.
Yes, we're going to see what happens. They have two main expressions that I really enjoy. They have a lot of expressions that I like, but the Pipe Dream bourbon that they have and then this Lost Monarch, I find that a lot of people love one of them, and then the other one, they either don't like it or they're just like, it's good, but it's not for me. But usually one of the two I find a lot of people like. I just actually today had somebody in my Discord message me about it because they bought both of them and they like both of them.
Nice. All right, I'm gonna let you sip for a second because I'm intrigued to see your reaction, and I don't want to judge it either way. But okay. I mean, overall, just so you guys know out there, this cigar can be found at LM Cigars. Of course, if you weren't fortunate enough to be in these, this is the first cigar of the second Perfect Pairing Club. If you weren't fortunate enough to be in that one, bummer, but go ahead and use our promo code PPP10 to get 10% off the Perfect Pairing Club and have the same cigars we're having every week. But this cigar overall is impressing me, and if you haven't gotten it, go to LM Cigars and you can grab this cigar.
So did you try both of them then already?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're going to agree with what I say or not, but let me
no, do it.
One more sip of the whiskey. One more sip.
Okay.
Let me think on it.
Fine. Look. I poured the wrong bourbon in the wrong glass. Whiskey.
Poured it in the Brooklotti
the whole time.
How about that? Okay. Well, I think this would be. I think technically this would be antagonistic, at least for what I'm tasting. But I would consider it probably negative antagonistic because I'm not a fan of what happened. The whiskeys taste about the same to me. It made the cigar like real peppery, and I almost got a touch of something else, like an ethanol or something that I've not gotten from a cigar before. What are you tasting?
So it's definitely antagonistic. And honestly, I'm not going to give away the third one, but I would be surprised if any of these are complimentary. I feel like there's a heavier end to all of these whiskeys than there is the cigar. So I anticipated some antagonistic pairings here. I'm like, I'm going to invent a third column: antagonistic, neutral.
Oh, okay.
So that doesn't mean there's nothing happening to this cigar. It's just different. It's not really better. I wouldn't say it's elevating the initial flavors. I mean, maybe a little. I enjoyed it. I did like the pairing personally, but I would pick the Brulotti 100% over this.
Yeah. I can see how somebody would like this pairing if you want a little bit more of a peppery kick out of the cigar, because for me it's that's the part of the cigar being elevated for me is the peppery notes, which I don't get a lot of in most Connecticut's. But
Correct, definitely.
And maybe it's just the shock of going from that caramely Bruichladdich pairing to now there's like none of, they're like that's gone, like that flavor's totally gone.
Correct.
I will say, especially if you're a fan of the Lost Monarch flavors, that it's not changing really at all. So if you want a cigar where you're going to have your Lost Monarch taste like Lost Monarch, I think that, at least for me, that's what I'm getting from it.
You know what actually is happening? And I feel like I didn't realize it when you just said the caramel taste wasn't coming out of the cigar anymore. I was, doing my own testing while you were talking. I actually feel like, and maybe we have to make up an entire fourth category, but this is a neutral pairing. That's what I'm going to call it. I feel like this cigar is actually back to where it was.
Really? Hold on. Let me take another puff here.
Because it changed so much with that Bruichladdich that I got used to that in my head. And then when I was focusing back on that cigar and puffing, doing a slight retro, I really feel like that is just back to where it was.
I'm not going to disagree with you. I think from my experience, I feel like it's more peppery, but that could be because the first time I ever puffed this cigar, which you guys just saw live, was with Bruichladdich. so maybe that's the case. That's interesting. That's very interesting.
I'm going to call it a neutral pairing for now. We're going to leave that linger. I feel like it's probably maybe actually impossible, but it's all opinionated as well. Just like we always say we're trying to lead you guys in the right direction, help you guys realize what's going on. But overall, just Chris and I's palates are different. So
yeah, and we're going to disagree on some stuff. Everybody's taste buds are different. It's like I think we said last episode. You might be listening to this and you're like, these guys are way off, and that's valid. That totally.
Go ahead and just yell at us in the Discord.
Yeah,
just be like, these guys are idiots, and I'll be like, sorry.
Right. Yep, you can do that. That's a valid opinion to have. All right, pairing number 3. I'm excited about. I'm worried about having it with this cigar. I should preface all of these with the fact that I love all 3 of these bottles. You're going to notice I pick a lot of stuff that I like because I really want to know how it interacts with these cigars. And so our next pairing is Penelope Architect. This is a straight bourbon whiskey that is then finished with French oak staves. And so similar to the Maker's 46, that's also French oak. Excuse me. This has a little bit of a French oak character to it. So my thought with the 3 pairings was Bruichladdich is very nice and light and sweet. It is a little bit higher proof, but it's not necessarily punchy body. So it's really mellow. The Lost Monarch has some rye and some bourbon, so you get some more spice cabinet flavors, but you dial back some of that sweetness. And then Penelope is kind of like sideways from both of those, where you have more body, you have more oak, but it's an oaky sweetness. It's the French oak, like we had with 46. It brings out this sweet vanilla, sometimes caramel type of a flavor. So all that is a long-winded way of saying these are going to be 3 super different pairings. Did you try it already?
I took a sip, and then those French oak staves. I mean, I've never had this Penelope Architect, just so you guys know, because I'm the whiskey noob here. I don't want to ruin it. I need to know complementary, antagonistic, ultra, or neutral.
Okay.
Because I'm adding it. Because why not? We make the rules, right?
Yeah, we're gonna make up our own categories if we want to.
I'm just gonna mention this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at the ash. The consistency is ridiculous. Nica Reserva, big props. Big props.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
Same thing happened to me right away. I just wanted to go.
My gut is saying complimentary.
Let's go.
Right?
Let's go.
Got one. Hey, all right. Write that down. Because the cigar, the nutty, woody flavors came out with those French oak staves. But then back to the Penelope, and it's fragrant. It's almost a touch floral, and the oak of the both of them just play off of each other.
Oh, yeah.
Very nice.
What a beautiful pairing.
This just goes to show, too, because if before the episode you would have asked me which of the 3 aren't really going to work out, I probably would have guessed Penelope. I would have said it's got the fullest body. It's the highest proof. This is 104 proof. It's not going to work out. And here we are. That was super unique.
And this is why I like, just so everybody knows out there that's listening and or watching, this is why I have Chris pick the pairings. Obviously, you know, we have the tasting notes of the cigar to work off of. But it creates this, in my opinion, a fun dynamic where I don't know what he's going to pick. You know, I'm not influencing, like, I know the cigar well. Chris, go this way, go that way. But I also don't know some of these whiskeys, so I couldn't even point you like that would have made sense. But he's also on the other end, so it's such a kind of blind. It's blind in a way. It's directional-ish on both ways.
Absolutely. I'll pick kind of a direction. Like I said, all 3 of these were kind of sweet, but I like to roll the dice. I thought the Penelope's got a lot of body. I don't know what's going to happen there. And sometimes rolling the dice works out.
Yeah. And that's why, like, if you guys are in a lounge and you're just in an experimental mood, you know, this is what this is for. Go ahead and, you know, if you can find the Nica Reserva in lounges, I'm actually not positive if they wholesale. Might just be online. But if you can find it, go ahead and go to a lounge that you can bring the cigar to and pick a random one. Just go out there. You never know what's going to happen. Of course, if we're having a bad day or something, now what we're saying, at least I can't speak for Chris and our ratings, ratings at least of these 3 rankings. Go ahead and pick this Penelope Architect because you're going to have a good time. But if not, keep experimenting. Find something and let us know in the Discord what you found.
Yeah. And that's why the Discord can be super helpful, especially as we roll on with these episodes. We can throw all these ideas into there and really start to pick out the best pairings. This Penelope, I mean, talk about elevating the flavor. It always has had a sweet vanilla creaminess from those French oak staves. It's like to the point of almost a custardy type of vanilla. Like it's so sweet, but not like light sweetness where you almost get sick of it. It's like a deep, full-bodied sweetness in a way that I haven't had it before. Talk about elevating the flavors. Wow.
Seriously. I mean, I'd like to say that we can extend this episode and debate the top 3, but I think we're both on the same
Mm-hmm. I don't think there's gonna be much problem.
level. No.
Wow.
But the ratings could be interesting between us two.
Yeah, and that's where I got to go back through and taste all 3 of them now. Lightning round, try them really quick, get a gut feel for the ratings.
Go right ahead. Because this, when we get off this episode, I may just have to just see how far this goes. I mean, look. That is textbook. Guys, when you talk about cigar construction, this is textbook construction. If you smoke any cigar, any size, this is what you want to see. Not this, by the way. Not a candlestick where you're smoking like this. I've done it before. Everybody has in the cigar world. Oh, I want to have a big ash. No. Tip it over. Shake it around a little bit. No movement. Perfect construction. Dang.
Yeah, that is pretty impressive. Mine's mostly corrected itself. Maybe I let it sit on the other side for too long a little bit, but not touching it with a light, can't complain.
No. Yeah. 100%. And, we haven't even mentioned this yet. Talk about a Connecticut that can really play the game when it comes to pairings. Like, when I saw Brulati on the lineup, I was like, game. This cigar is going to taste like a vape back in the day where there's no flavors.
Right.
When they first came out and people just like to make clouds.
Totally. You would think. And I thought that about the Penelope, to be honest with you. But here we are. I'm going to type out my ratings so it keeps me honest, so I can't lie.
I like it.
So what did we say last episode? Let's refresh everybody because I need refreshed here. We are 9 is like, don't even try anything else with it. This is the pairing. 8 is like, great chance that this is the best pairing on your shelf, but you might be able to find something else. And then, everything else just kind of falls below those. But that's where it's
right. I think we said, did we say 5 is like the barrier between I'm not trying it again, ever. Or not ever, but like, if it's the only thing I'll drink, I'll have it between that and like 2.
Yes, I think so.
Besides that, I'm drinking water. Yeah.
I think that's right. We were 5 is like today. Maybe just don't even do a pairing. Maybe just have one or the other.
Right.
Below 5.
All right, I'm going back to the Brulati, so you go ahead first here.
Okay. All right. So let me finish typing this last number. I'll talk about the rankings here. Okay. What's the ratings are so much harder than the rankings. It's obvious to see which is which, but
100%.
Where do I put it? Oh man. Okay. All right.
Brulati's an interesting one, man.
I know. When I went back
to it, writing down that number.
Yep. When I went back to it, I was like, "Oh, that's better than I remembered it being." Okay. All right. Here's what I'm thinking. So at number 3, I'm guessing those listening might have guessed it. I have Lost Monarch. And here's the thing. I love Lost Monarch, and I'm loving this cigar. Together, they just don't work out. I think it's because they got a spiciness that plays off of each other and kind of makes them both a little different for me. I just wasn't that big of a fan.
Yep.
And that's to say that I do love both of these, so that makes me sad. I'm interested to find a cigar that works better with this Lost Monarch, though. I'm thinking a darker cigar it might do a little bit better. We'll see.
The one I was thinking of real quick was actually the first cigar of the week, the Artista Midnight. I think that would have been beautiful.
I think so. We might just have to keep these bottles and try it on a darker cigar here in the future. In number 2, I have the Brulati. I do think it was a great pairing. I really enjoyed it. It was nice and sweet, but it doesn't quite hold up to the Penelope pairing with this cigar, which was just the best out of these 3 by far. Without giving away my rating, it is one that if I saw it, I'd be hard pressed to decide whether or not to go with the Penelope or try to find something different. Maybe that gives it away, but I'll pass the ball over to you. What are you thinking?
Well, yeah, I'm the same. Penelope's 1. We got the Brulati at 2. And we got the Lost Monarch at 3. What I'm going to say about this Brulati, and this is not going to give away my rating, I'd have it again if I saw it, mostly because I'm a curious smoker and drinker. I love just exploring. That's why this podcast kind of came to life, because I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. I just get to explore all day and, hang out with Chris, and that's what we're going to do, and we'll just record it. But yeah, that Brulati, I don't want to downplay the fact that it was number 2. I mean, I'm looking at, and this is true for the Lost Monarch as well. I'm like 1B, and then like 2B. It's not even 3. It's like, it's not 2, but it's 2B. Like,
Nope, I get it.
We're getting. Look at this.
Oh,
nice. I want to keep going. I wish, guys, I'm sorry we're not going to have like a hour and 15-minute podcast, but maybe I'll like take a picture at the end of this one.
Yeah, see what ends up happening. Yeah, so far my ash is holding on great. Our burn line might be a little rough, but I mean, as far as construction, you can't be mad about that.
No, not that much.
All
These are hand rolled, guys.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Let's throw some ratings out there. I'll let you start with the Lost Monarch.
Lost Monarch, I'm going 6.8.
Okay.
6.8 for me. It's there. I would do it for the cigar.
Okay.
That's kind of, and always I'm cigar first. I'm going to have a great time having this pairing. I think, because if you remember, I kind of gave it a neutral. I like the Lost Monarch. I like the Nica Reserva. I'll have both. Not going to be upset with my time. 6.8.
Okay. I had a little bit of a different. I said 4.9, which is it's right there. It's right there. I wanted so badly to like this pairing because I like them both separately so much. But for me, I didn't like the cigar as much. Maybe it's because it was up against 2 stellar pairings. I didn't like the cigar as much with the Lost Monarch, and I love Lost Monarch, and I think because of what it did to the cigar, it took away from my enjoyment of the Lost Monarch as well. So it was right there. We're trying Lost Monarch again. I've already decided because I really need to know now. I know there's a good pairing out there for that, and I need to find it. But yeah, 4.9.
I like it. Going straight into Brulati, I already know it. We're looking at an 8 flat.
8 flat. Okay.
8 flat. Like I said, it was 1B. It wasn't 2. I enjoyed it. It was a very curious pairing for me, which always perks my ears up. So yeah, 8 flat.
All right. I went just under that. I went at 7.5. Pretty much the same reason, though. I know if somebody hands me this, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to have a good time. It's tasty. With what I learned about Penelope Architect, I'm like, I might be able to find something else. But so, I mean, as far as the pairing goes, fantastic.
Okay.
Let me write yours down or I'm going to forget them.
I had to have a last little puff and sip here. So you go first on this Penelope, because this one is good. So I'm trying. This is where, in my opinion, it's like, if it's gonna up a previous pairing and rating that we've done, I need to make sure I'm right on there. The ones in the 9s, if it's in the 9s, the points matter a lot.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even compare to our previous ones, but I think I do know. So I went with 8.5 because for me, the odds of finding a better pairing than this, not great, because this is a fantastic pairing. So I think this is one of those ones that if you're going to find a better one, you're going to be hunting out something better than this. I loved what it did to the Penelope. It elevated it so much. It brought out these custardy vanilla notes that I loved, and the cigar still held its ground. It didn't sacrifice anything. It still tasted great. For me, it's an 8.5.
So I totally thought you were going above a 9. I was actually trying to set you up a little bit, but it is what it is. I am actually on the same point. I'm going 8.8. I'm saying it's right on that mark, but I do believe there's a better pairing out there. We just haven't had it yet. I think it exists. Is it alcoholic? I'm actually the first thing I'm thinking is a cappuccino.
Oh,
I'm like a good cappuccino. This thing could be 9.5. And that's the only reason I went below 9. 8.8 though, because I see it. I don't see anything else. I'm not flinching.
Yep. I get it. For me, I think if it made the cigar pop a little bit more, then it would be over 9, because what it did to the whiskey, fabulous. The cigar still tastes great. Don't get me wrong. It's elevated for sure. But if it just had more pop to it, that would be a 9. But I like you said, I think there's something out there that would do that. But still, if anybody hands you this, or if it's like this or just any other option, the odds are really good that this is going to be the better option out of any given 2, I would say.
Correct. If you're looking for a good time, guaranteed.
Yep, guaranteed.
Love it. Well, here is the answer to the trivia question of the day.
Should I make a fool out of myself and guess it real quick?
Done, because I did last time.
Okay. All right. I'm going to say, I'm hoping it's similar to coffee. I'm hoping it's equally unintuitive, and lighter wrappers are going to give you more tobacco, maybe, or more nicotine, I should say.
So it used to be, it's a trick question, to be honest.
Okay.
It used to be about 10 years ago, maybe 5-ish, and it's still ish true. The lighter the wrapper, the lighter the cigar.
Okay.
The issue is a lot of people got creative. They decided to reinvent the wheel, as we did today. We got a fourth, pairing type, the neutral type. And they decided to put some heavy Ligero tobacco in that center on the filler. And occasionally you'll grab a Connecticut cigar. I mean, this is the backstory before I go full answer on this. Mm-hmm. My brother is not a big cigar smoker. When probably about 5 years ago, when I was helping him, I was like, look, just walk into any lounge. You'll feel good if you just say, I want a Connecticut cigar.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be fine. It's not true.
Uh-oh.
There are the random ones where they decided to put some heavy Ligero in there, and you're going to smoke it, and you're going to be like, I don't know, I'm smoking a Connecticut. I'm a little lightheaded. And it's like, yeah, it's just not true. So all of the shade is just deceiving. I will say the general consensus is still the Connecticut wrapper. The lighter shades is going to be light Habano, that kind of mid, not dark brown, but mid brown. Like I believe the FP cigar was Habano. Mm-hmm. That was mid. But then you look at like something as dark as we had the GTO La Cura. Mm-hmm. Heavy cigar, heavy Maduro, but that had a light taste too. That was I believe that was the podcast we just did.
Yeah,
it was a surprisingly light cigar. So, yeah, there's the trivia. There's no answer. So I guess we should start doing trivia answers where we help people out.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, yeah, we got 2 common misconceptions, and we threw them out there as trivia questions. So hey, maybe people learned something. I know I did.
Yep. Well, Chris, I don't want to ash this thing, man. I mean, there's a little, going on, but I've been talking for a little while. But I'm ready to go ahead and just smoke this thing for the rest of the night. So, what do you say we call it?
I think we can call it.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, all the above. We are all over the place on social media now with the Perfect Pairing podcast. So go follow us on all the different channels, and we will catch you next time.
See you later, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.